everyone, welcome back. I want to share with you something a bit personal. And the personal thing is that I have suffered from quite a bit of anxiety all my life. And I can't get rid of it, I just have to control it. I'd like to share with you what I've learned about anxiety, because I think that if I share my experience, it's really going to help. People who suffer from a great deal of anxiety usually are always worst case scenario thinkers. That's what we do. We are negatively biased and we're always looking at the negative consequences of whatever is going on in our lives. And one other thing we do that is really, really harmful is we underestimate our own ability to be able to problem solve something. We actually underestimate our ability to be able to make it through. We don't believe in ourselves. We think that our life is going to fall apart on the first sign of trouble, and it usually doesn't. And so that has unfortunately held me back a lot because I always look at the negative scenario. I always immediately think that whatever I'm going to do is going to fail. So I have that negative bias. And I think that if I fail, I fully believe that I won't be able to make it through the failure. So these are ingrained. This isn't just something that sometimes I feel like that. That's kind of my general, my ground zero, my general state of being. Now that I've worked through it and I know about it and I do the coping skills, it's become more manageable. But I'd like to share some more information with you that you might relate to. For example, most of us who are anxious are all or nothing thinkers. So what that means is, if it's not perfect, it don't matter. If it's perfect, it matters. If it's not perfect, I might as well not do it. So even when I started to do these videos, I was, well, if it's not perfect, then why would I even do it? You know, the angle of the camera has to be pretty on. If you kind of look at all my videos, I kind of fiddle around with the camera just to make sure I get the right amount of the bookshelf and the right amount of lighting. So it's something that we work on, right? So it was a big step for me to kind of go out in the wilderness yesterday. But many people like that video, so that's great. The second thing is we overgeneralize. We think that if something is a negative experience now, it will always be a negative experience. So if something I did, I tagged on with a negative experience, I don't believe that the next time it might be positive. Well, then that experience has been tagged with negativity and it will always be negative. So if I wasn't successful in making these videos, I'm going to make an assumption that I will never be successful at making videos. And that's not true, right? But some of us think like that. We also are usually focusing on the thing that went wrong. We're never focusing on the thing that went right, because there's a lot of things that go right, but our brain just doesn't work like that. We usually go and focus on the thing that went wrong. That seems to be our safety net, is to focus on that. The other thing is coming up with reasons why the positive events don't count. Lots of amazing things have happened in my life, but for some reason, those events don't count. Like, the ones that were negative have more weight. And that's an anxiety-driven kind of feel, right? So that's another good one to bring up to mind. The other thing is making negative interpretations without actual evidence. So I may not have any evidence that something that I'm gonna do or a new thing I'm gonna try is gonna work or not. But my default is, even though I've never done this before, it's probably gonna turn out wrong. So I don't know how many of you relate to some of these things because they're very pervasive in society. Many of us are anxious. And so it really is something that we need to work on. The other thing is, like I mentioned, expecting worst case scenario. It's always like that, as if expecting it won't make the worst case scenario happen. It's not true. It will happen if it's going to happen. And the last thing is believing that the way you feel is what it is in reality. That's such a skewed image. I have an ingrained belief that the way I see it is the way it really is. But if I ask my friends, my coworkers, if I ask a colleague what they're seeing from the outside in, they're like, that's not the way it was at all. So it's nice to realize these factors, because if you suffer from that kind of level of anxiety that I have in my life and continue to do on and off, then these are really good tools to use and to bring into awareness those features that make anxious people, and maybe try to let one of them go, and eventually maybe you can manage all of them. Anyways, that's always the hope. So I will see you tomorrow for another video, maybe outside. Take care. See you later.